Welcome to the Voices That Propel Us, stories of justice, action, and community, a space where justice meets action and community voices rise. Each episode, we bring you stories from the front lines, changemakers, disruptors, and everyday heroes who are building a more just, equitable, and liberated world. This is more than a podcast. It's a call to listen, learn, and move together. You were just listening to music from the incredibly talented Stephen Kong. You can find him on Spotify and Bandcamp. Today we have with us LaKisha Mosley. LaKisha is a mental wellness-led leadership strategist and the founder of Soft Simple CEO, a philosophy and operating system centered on clarity before complexity, regulation before strategy, and calm execution as a core leadership skill. Well, hi, LaKisha. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me today on this platform. I'm super grateful, super honored, that you wanted to share this platform with me. And as I shared with you earlier, I think the work that you do is incredibly important, especially for change makers, people working in the community, because I know burnout is such an important issue that comes up for a lot of people. But how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Yeah.
I am truly honored.
Yeah, no, the honors, that I feel so honored that you said yes to this. But just starting off, can you introduce yourself and share what led you to create Soft Simple CEO? I'd love to hear more about that.
Yes. So my name is LaKisha Mosley. I am the founder and CEO of the Soft Simple CEO. And
Mhm.
what happened was your girl burnt out last year. November
Oh,
2025, I hit a
mhm.
wall. Like I hit the proverbial wall. I was
Aw.
going and going and going, doing so many things. I feel like last year was really a difficult year, especially for women in a lot of spaces, Black women, especially in a lot of spaces. We had to navigate things a lot differently last year. And so I was trying to do all these things. I
Mhm.
wanted to stay relevant. I wanted to make sure that people knew what I was doing in the mental health space, trying to stay as disruptive because you want to
Mhm.
interrupt the normal path. And then
Right.
finally, Denise, it was too much. I
Mhm.
had too much in my hands that I just could not maintain. And so
Mhm.
during my recovery period, it was like, okay, what do you want to do? What do you not want to do? What are some things that you have picked up that are too much? And so from my journaling, I came up with the Soft Simple CEO, which is basically a framework, a positioning of how women, especially women, because I talk to women
Yeah.
mainly, but how you should frame your business. It
Mhm.
is really a mental wellness led framework for high achieving women who want to build sustainable, profitable businesses because we need both without
Mhm.
sacrificing their mental health. That was the
Right.
key. Mental health wasn't the foundation of what I was doing. I was just doing a bunch of things, not paying attention to my body that's telling me, girl, sit down, you're doing too much,
Mhm.
using rest as a reward, not
Right.
honoring my capacity, and definitely not using softness as a strategy,
Mhm.
around a lot of things. And so I hit a wall and I literally couldn't do anything. And I started working these,
Mhm.
different points that I bring out in the Soft Simple CEO framework. And I started to like feel a lot better. Like I needed to trust myself. I needed
Mhm.
to regulate my body before I started to do anything. I needed to show up in spaces very soft. There's a discernment that comes with being soft
Right.
in leadership and things like that. And just designing my business around sustainability because we want our businesses to be around. We don't want to pick
Mhm.
up stuff and have to put it down. And so that's what I wanted to do. And that's how the Soft Simple CEO came about.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. I'm so sorry that you had to experience burnout yourself too. But when you said like November 2025, that's not that long ago. So it's still like a pretty fresh wound for you. And I'm amazed that you've been able to like regroup yourself and also like support other people in their own journeys as well. I think that's really commendable.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. No, no, no,
Yeah,
of
it was
course.
so many of us that were in this space. So I wasn't alone, which was one of
Yeah,
the key things that I think sometimes we don't recognize is that we're not alone in a lot of these spaces.
right.
And sometimes you have to be the renegade person to say, hey, I done burnt out, I crashed.
Yeah,
Hey, this is what happened. And then you get so many other people who are like, me too.
right.
Like, this was me. What are you doing? And then just trying to implement and put something in place that says it's not perfect.
Uh-huh.
It's not perfect at all. It's what works for me. However, let's do this together. Let's go on this journey together.
Yeah, no, that's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that too. And I know you talked about this just a little bit, but I'd love to further explore it with you. So, when you say mental health or mental wellness led leadership, what does that actually look like in practice?
So we have to first understand that mental health is the foundation of everything.
I
We all
agree.
have mental health. Some of us live with a mental health condition,
Hmm.
a disorder, or a challenge, whatever wording that you want to use.
Right.
So when you use mental health as the foundation of your business or whatever it is that you do, then you
Hmm.
learn some strategies and things, or you have things in place that help you regulate before you do anything. So for instance,
Yeah.
I am a high functioning depressant. That is my
Okay.
diagnosis.
Okay.
Most people who know high functioning depressions, we look fine.
Hmm.
We look okay. But people can tell who know me very well, I'm in
Yeah.
crisis if I'm doing a lot of things. If I'm
Right.
talking very fast and I can't sit down and I'm doing all these things. So because I know what can trigger me as a
Hmm.
high functioning depressant, I have to make sure that I'm grounded and
Hmm.
that I'm regulated before I start to do anything. And that's what we need to start doing in our businesses. We
Yeah.
build businesses and we leave mental health out of it. But if mental health is not a part of your business foundation, you are out of alignment. Your business will be
Yeah.
out of alignment, and so will anything that you do. If you have a team, your
Hmm.
team will be out of alignment. We talk about social justice with I mean, that is one of the hardest things to do because you have to
Yeah.
show up when nobody else shows up. So, how do you still show up in situations that could be very triggering for you? That could be
Yeah.
that could put you into a crisis mode. You have to make sure that you're regulated before you even start to do those very things. And
Hmm.
that is making sure that you know what your mental health looks like and what it takes to keep it intact.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. And I'm sorry that you experienced that in your journey as well. And something a little bit about me too, like I actually also have high functioning depression and I'm very productive and can
Yes.
take it. People actually go to me as the rock, I think, because I've been through a lot of trauma in my life and I know how to stay calm in chaos and it kind of attracts people. But like at the same time, it's funny when I tell people I'm not okay, they're like, no, no, you seem fine, Denise. And it's hard. I don't want to like, because I'm not overly emotional either. I'm like, why do I have to break down in tears for you to believe me? But I feel that struggle too, because I feel like what you said really resonates and relates to my own story as well.
Yeah, it's exhausting for
Yeah,
us to recover.
right.
People don't understand that as high functioning depressants,
Hmm.
our recovery is a lot longer and a lot different than everyone else.
Yeah,
This breakdown happened for me in November, and I wasn't really ready to talk about it or even feel like I had come out of the pit
right.
until probably mid-January. But
Oh,
in the
wow.
meantime, I was working on the fundamentals of the Soft Simple CEO. Oh, I was smiling on the gram. I was
Yeah,
smiling on LinkedIn, but inside I felt like I was just dying. I felt like I
yeah,
wasn't here, but we look like we're okay. And what I've learned that when people
hmm,
say things like that to me, and I'm like, well, looks can be deceiving. Trust me
yeah,
when I tell you that I'm not okay. And sometimes it gets people to do a double take and be like, oh, she's serious.
yeah,
Oh yeah, that's something that I probably need to make mention. And I'll get people that'll come back and they'll apologize and say, oh, I'm so sorry. I
yeah,
really thought you were playing. I never knew certain things. And I really feel like sometimes we have to educate people a little
right.
bit on what we deal with, because again, sometimes that's freedom for us, because now I don't have to pretend like I'm okay
Yeah,
around you because I'm not
right.
okay.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry you have to go through that too, but I'd love to talk with you more. And, I know you mentioned it too, but like how this affects like change makers or people actually doing social justice work. Cause I agree with you too, because I would say like most of my career, I've done like social justice work too. And
Hmm.
it's like not just the actual like task, but like the emotional labor that goes into it too. So, with that,
Right.
what have you noticed about the emotional and mental state of leaders working in justice and community spaces right now?
I will tell you their mental health, if they don't, even if they don't acknowledge it, is not at its best, for
Yeah,
one.
no, I agree.
Change
Hmm.
makers, people who are in social justice, really have to learn how to execute from a place of calmness.
Uh-huh.
How do you do that when you see so many injustices going on? How do
Hmm.
you do that? Because we get angry too.
Hmm.
We want to lash out, but as the
Yeah,
leader,
right.
we have to set the precedent for other people. I really feel like they don't have an outlet
Hmm.
most times to say, this
Yeah,
is what's happening. This is how I'm feeling. They feel like because I'm the helper, I can't get help. That was my problem. That's what I
right.
recognized in November with all of the resources I have. Listen, on my phone, I have
Hmm.
4 therapists on speed dial.
Oh,
They're
wow.
not
Okay.
my therapists, but they're really great friends of mine.
Mm,
I mean, my own therapist, I could have just,
yeah.
like, been, hey, I'm not here. This is what's going on. I'm crashing. I'm whatever. We had that on speed. I had that on speed dial and I didn't utilize it. A lot of change makers have a lot of people in their networks. Think about it. Change makers, y'all know a lot of people. You are so well
Right.
connected to
Yeah.
so many sources. But as the leader, you feel like you are a failure if you ask for help. And
Mm,
actually, you are not. It really humanizes you even more so when you say to
mm,
either your core group or to everyone who you are talking to that there are periods when I am not okay. I think
yeah.
it kind of gets people to feel like, hmm, Denise has real feelings too. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, she's a bad girl. Like she
Yeah.
making change out here. But
Uh-huh.
I also have to be cognizant that this is a lot on her too. It really
Yeah.
just sometimes opens people's eyes to that not only do you do the work, but you embody the work as well. And
Right.
they're a little bit more cautious
Yeah.
when they sometimes bring things to you. They may even problem solve for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree too. And yeah, thank you for sharing all that too. And one thing I wanted to bring up too, that you asked me a powerful question when you introduced yourself to me, which, I really appreciated. So, you asked, oh, who is protecting the capacity of change makers? So, what are you seeing happen when this question goes unaddressed?
I am seeing change makers burn out,
Yeah.
their whole mission,
Mm-hmm.
vision, cause fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
And I am seeing them struggle to maintain their reputation.
Okay.
Because
Right.
if you start something with me, I'm expecting you to go to the end of the road with me. When
Okay.
you are overwhelmed,
Uh-huh.
your body can't say yes anymore.
Yeah.
Your body is going to shut down. When we begin to betray our bodies, that's mind, body, soul,
Mm-hmm.
spirit, whatever. When we continue to betray it,
Yeah.
it is going to betray us back. It is
Yeah.
going to do that. The body can only do what it can do. I'm seeing that a lot of people are struggling with their reputations, be
Yeah.
it, on a local level, even nationally, when they are in these burnout states and they just feel like they can't say it. Even in a time where there's so many buzzwords around therapy and stuff like that,
Right.
there's still a stigma. There's still a taboo when we talk about mental health in any space.
Yeah. No, I
What it
agree.
is. So you're seeing a lot of them really lose their following, and not likes and loves and all of
Yeah.
that, but you're losing people that support them because now I don't know what's real. I don't
Mm,
know what's happening because you're not talking to me. You don't feel like you're at a place to share. And as a change maker, I feel,
mhm,
this is just me, I feel that we have to be as transparent, as authentic, and as honest as we can, because to me, that's where
yeah,
change starts. Sometimes it starts with just you and being transparent.
Right. No, thank you for sharing that. And actually, that leads me into the next question that I had for you. So, I've been talking to people, and I think sometimes people feel bad about saying no to things or like overextending self. Because sometimes they think that maybe by saying no or pulling back shows that, they don't care. So that's why they keep doing the things. And, so with that, how do we begin to recognize the difference between being deeply committed and also just being chronically depleted?
One word,
Yeah,
boundaries
right,
are that
right.
one word. I want us to start looking at boundaries as not a way of keeping people out.
Mm-hmm.
They help keep your mission alive.
Yeah.
Because when you have boundaries, those are things that you know for certain, and you can replenish in the times where you need to replenish.
Mm-hmm.
And when you feel the depletion coming, like think about a remote. Your remote, sometimes I have a smart TV and it'll tell me, hey, your remote is at 10% battery. You need
Right.
to replace it. When we start to feel those things, we need to start doing that. I can be deeply committed and go take a doggone nap. I
Mm-hmm.
can be deeply
Yeah.
committed and there
Right.
is a cutoff time for my work. Period,
Mm-hmm.
point blank. I feel like in community care work and even in nonprofit leadership, any work where the stakes are human,
Mm-hmm.
your sustainability is not separate from your impact. So
Yeah.
if you do not get that part in check, like you have to have a balance. And I think when we talk about
Right.
transparency and being authentic about what we can maintain our capacity, that helps with people sometimes seeing that, because you're right. People will be like, oh, she's not committed, she's not here. Well,
Mm-hmm.
no, I have a capacity check that I do every morning. And this morning my capacity check did not go through. So I am taking
Right.
a little bit of time. Either that's a few hours, few minutes. It could be a whole doggone day if I need to. Because in order for me to show up properly, I have to make sure that my capacity is full, that my
Yeah.
battery is full to do this work. And so I feel like we need to give ourselves some cutoffs, some
Mm-hmm.
boundaries. Think about some things that you need to protect, because boundaries protect us. They're not about keeping people outside of us. We need
Right.
to find some things to protect us. So that could be saying, okay, well, I'm only going to send
Mm-hmm.
uh, emails out till 8 p.m. I'm going to work until 8 p.m. sending out emails to my community, letting them know about the march that's coming up, or letting them know
Yeah.
about the protest, or letting them know what community events that we are a part of. When 8
Right.
o'clock comes, you need to stop. You don't need
Yeah.
to answer another email. You don't need to send another email. You're protecting yourself. Now, I
Yeah.
tell people all the time, boundaries are funny in a sense of it's really what you maintain.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about the other person, really. It's about what you maintain. So for me, I don't take
Yeah.
any calls after 6 p.m.
Okay, that's good.
Not at all. I don't
Yeah.
take any calls after 6 p.m. and I stop email about 8 p.m.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that you can't call me after 6 o'clock. You just won't get an
Right.
answer. See,
Right.
I control whether I answer that or not. I can't control
Yeah.
whether you call me. And so I think that's where we get it mixed up is we're like, oh, well, Denise called me at 6:15. Okay,
Right.
good. But did
Yeah.
you answer? So if you didn't
Right.
answer, you kept your boundary intact.
I
Change
love
makers,
that.
I really want y'all to hear me when I say this. Your work is important. It
Right.
is so important. And so you have to establish boundaries so that the lines aren't blurred and people are questioning, are you
Uh-huh.
deeply committed to your work? Because being deeply committed means that I do have boundaries in place. I do have processes and procedures. There may be some automation involved in that
Yeah.
that helps me with that. But I don't want the change maker, the leader, to get it twisted where people try to guilt you into saying, oh, well, you're
Right.
not deeply committed because you didn't show up. No, I am deeply committed. That's why I didn't show up.
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah, I love that too. That's something else that I've learned in my own journey as well. And what I wanted to bring up next is I've been thinking a lot about how rest can be revolutionary, which I think is something that you mentioned as well. But actually, with that, I was reading this article that came up in my feed, and it was talking about that rest shouldn't be revolutionary; it should just be the norm. And I was like, yeah, that should be revolutionary, but or it should be the norm and not like the exception. revolution. But I feel like until we get to that point, it's still like a revolutionary act to really just take
Right.
care of ourselves and everything. So, with that, you mentioned that rest can be revolutionary. So, can you unpack what that means, especially in the context of justice work?
So when you think about justice work, justice doesn't sleep. Things
Mm-hmm.
happen all the
I
time
agree.
where that's why police departments are open 24/7,
Mm-hmm.
hospitals are open 24/7.
Uh-huh.
Justice doesn't sleep at all.
Yeah.
And so when you look at what these wrongdoings are still happening
Mm-hmm.
for hours
Right.
in the business, all of these things, then my work needs to be the same way, and that's not really the case. We
Yeah.
have to learn that rest is not a reward for work. Rest is necessary. In order to do the work that you are doing, you have to be well rested. Rest
Mm-hmm.
allows you to make clear, concise decisions.
Mm-hmm.
You're not operating from a place of like lack of clarity.
Uh-huh.
Think about when you are tired.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you are not making the best decisions when you are tired. Sometimes you're not even thinking very clearly. So
Yeah.
when you think about rest as being revolutionary, it goes against the norms, right?
Right.
People don't see rest as something that we should be doing automatically. We
Mm-hmm.
see it as a reward for doing the
Right.
work. Rest, it resists the extraction culture that we find.
Mm-hmm.
It resists me saying, hey, I know there's a rally tonight, but I can't come.
Yeah.
I need to go and get some rest so that I can be prepared for the rally tomorrow.
Right.
And that doesn't negate that one is more important than the other. It's just that my body, my mind, my functions, they're more important. That gives me
Mhm.
momentum. It actually protects your movement when you're well rested. It doesn't slow your impact because your impact is still going to be there. It really stabilizes it for long term sustainable justice work. If I am going
Mhm.
to continue to do the work that I am doing, yes, I need to go and get rest. It is a part of my operational system for my body. It is
Mhm.
foundational in my infrastructure. And I understand that when I rest, the execution that I need to do in my
Yeah.
justice work is stabilized. It's not
Mhm.
unstable. It is very well stabilized. And people know whether it's my team, whether it's other people
Mhm.
that I'm working with, they know, okay, Denise's going to show up and she's going to be good because we know that she honors these things. And guess what? You give other people permission to do the same thing.
Yeah. No, I love that too. I think that's what I've also learned because I've done a lot of like leadership development with young leaders. And it's like, if I work myself too hard, like overextend myself, what is that teaching, these next
Right.
generation of leaders? We really want them in this work for the long haul because I don't know, just it makes me sad though. But it's like, I remember people, my peers, we were all activists together and they just got burned out like way too early. And they're like, I'm just gonna go corporate. I can't do community work anymore. And if we
Yeah.
really want these young people in it for the long haul, we also have to, I think, model that like just, rest and taking care of ourselves.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And letting them know that when it's time, if I say, hey, I want this
Hmm.
group of you to call it a night, or I'll
Right.
see you all tomorrow, letting them know that that is okay. Establishing team rest norms,
Hmm.
where there are meeting free windows. So I don't meet with my team between 11 and 2.
Mm,
Those are periods where I want them to either be eating lunch.
I love that.
I want them to either just be resetting their minds, just resting, or something. I don't have meetings during those times. I don't
Yeah.
typically have meetings in the evenings. I feel like your body needs to kind
Uh-huh.
of, just rest down from what you've done that day. Establish off-grid hours that
Right.
structurally protect your team's energy and capacity. And when they see that that's the norm, they
Hmm.
do feel like their work is impactful. They don't feel like they're missing out. And they don't
Yeah.
feel like their leader is guilting them to keep going when they need to really shut down.
Right, right. No, I love that. And I'd love to talk more about like how rest can also like challenge other systems as well. So how does rest challenge systems such as capitalism, urgency culture, or grind culture?
Grind. When I say I'm so sick of grind culture, it is
Yeah.
literally killing us. I think I did a reel the other week and I
Mhm.
got some kind of, responses that I wasn't really prepared for. But grinding is literally killing us and it kills the culture that you are building as a change maker.
Yeah.
You want to make change, but when you feel like I have to hustle, I have to grind, I can't
Mhm.
I have to keep going. It really doesn't set a good precedent and definitely for capitalism because guess what you do when you're not
Mhm.
rested? Guess what you do when you're not stabilized in certain areas? You tend to spend or
Right.
engage in things that normally you wouldn't.
Mhm.
So something as simple as you're going to buy a Red Bull but you are fighting justice
Yeah.
or you're fighting the cause of these type of energy drinks need to be removed from the stores. They're
Yeah.
hurting our kids, they're doing whatever, but because you're depleted you go and buy
Mhm.
a Red Bull just
Right.
because you need it at that moment. You tend to engage in things that really kind of go against the culture or the change that you are shouting for, but
Mhm.
because it's the only thing in your mind that's available, you indulge in it.
Right.
You partake in those things. But I really feel like that urge, that
Mhm.
rush to be to do things is propelled by that voice of,
Mhm.
okay, I took a nap and I should have been doing X, Y, and Z, and now I'm in a rush to do this, that, and the other. Or because you are so tired, you've missed certain things.
Yeah.
Your body can only take so much without sleep. So you've
Yeah.
missed certain things. Now here it is. I'm supposed to be at this rally. I have committed to this rally, and because I didn't get proper rest, I either have to one not show up or number two I show up and I'm not my best self.
Yeah.
It's really bad for the change that you are trying to make, and if you are a leader, it
Mhm.
really can hurt your reputation.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. And so you emphasize regulation before strategy. So why do you think that's so important?
When we think about regulation, think about
Mhm.
a device. Our bodies are mechanism. It is highly complex. There are
Uh-huh.
certain devices that have to be recalibrated before you can use it again. Our
Mhm.
bodies are the same thing. That is how you know that you can make the right decisions when your body is regulated. So dysregulation, it really
Yeah.
distorts decisions. You decide you're going to go to this rally, although they've told you it's going to be this type of presence there and that type of
Mhm.
presence there, and that presence may not be good for the work that you are trying to do. But
Right.
when your body is regulated, when you're well rested, when you know what your capacity is, you have clarity,
Yeah.
which then allows you to implement this level of calm leadership.
Mhm.
That way you are making decisions from that place. Or let's just say, hey, LaKisha, you talk about before I get there, but I'm there and I feel like they're picking on us. I feel like they're trying to incite us. Practice things like box breathing. Take a
Okay.
moment,
Mhm.
label what you're feeling because what you're feeling is real. What you're experiencing in that moment is real. A
Yeah.
part of nervous system regulation is calling a thing a thing. Okay, I feel anxious.
Mhm.
Because I feel anxious, what is my purposeful next step?
Oh,
What
okay.
do I do next? Is it best that me and my team leave?
Mhm.
Or is it best that we go to another place? Now you're regulated. You can make
Mhm.
that decision. But if you're dysregulated, you may be like, oh, they want to show up and show out. Okay, well, we're going to do the same thing. And
Right.
now it has really taking you back of the work that you've already done. So now you've backtracked, you've gotten into, say, an altercation, a scuffle, or whatever the case may be that has hurt your cause. So now instead of your your change, whatever you're trying to do to progress and move forward, now
Yeah.
you've gone back somewhat and now you got to build that traction back up. And so nervous system regulation really just tells you to pause. It
Okay,
tells
I
you to
like
just
that.
stop for a moment, figure out what you are experiencing, even in
Mhm.
happy moments. Because if we're
Yeah.
happy and we're overly happy, we're still dysregulated. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
What happens with that euphoria, what do? We tend to overdo things. We tend to
Hmm.
want to overindulge in things. Oh, okay, well, we got 600 people here, so that means we can do whatever, whatever. No, with those 600 people, what does a regulated leader do?
Right.
Maybe she divides them up, and
Hmm.
you take this corner and you take that corner. Or maybe you may say, well, you were here earlier today, I need you
Okay.
all to go home. You tend to just make decisions from a very clear
Hmm.
place, and it's very important in justice work. It is
Yeah.
extremely important in justice work.
No, I agree too. And so, what are some signs that someone's nervous system is dysregulated, even if they think they're handling it? So, what are some things that people should be watching out for?
I would say the first thing that I notice from people is they're
Hmm.
agitated. And
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's for whatever reason, like either they're fidgety, like you'll notice their hands may be shaking,
Mm.
maybe you'll see them kind of like walking off, and maybe they're talking to themselves. Like there are small subtle things you can feel. Sometimes it's
Okay.
very wide open, like they may be visibly sick.
Hmm.
Um, they may be shouting at people,
Yeah.
doing things that are outside the norm from what you really notice them to be doing.
Hmm.
Sometimes it could be manic. As high functioning depressants, manic behavior is one of the
Right.
key things for us. And people
Yeah.
are like, oh, Lord, she's doing a lot.
Right.
We're in manic, and y'all need to
Right.
sit us down.
No, no, but it's hard because once I get in that space, it feels like I'm running and I'll keep running even though I see a cliff coming up.
Yes. Yes. And I'm so glad that you said that, because I think
Yeah.
some people don't recognize or
Yeah.
realize that, they say, well, high functioning, at least you're not really depressed. It is a form of depression. But what they
Yeah.
don't understand is we see the cliff coming. We still go over it.
I don't know. I do that too. No, and but the thing is, because I think that's what I try to describe to people. I think especially people who have more depression that's more noticeable, like staying in
Right.
bed all day and stuff. And I tell them, honestly, I feel kind of envious of you. Like, I wish I could just stay in bed all day or cry and stuff. And they're like,
Exactly.
no, but I feel like so like not productive at all. I'm like, I want to just let go and not
Yes.
have any expectations, not do anything. I wish I could be like that, but I'm just the stubborn part of me keeps producing and because I'm producing, people give me more to do.
Yes. Yes. And that's
Yeah.
where your boundaries and,
Right, right.
being very clear about no's, that's where that comes into play.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I'd love to for you to give like advice directly to the listeners. So, can you share a simple practice that listeners can use to begin regulating their nervous system today?
One of the first things I do is always, always, always tap into my feelings. And some people may be
Mm.
like, oh, I'm not that sensitive, or I don't know
Uh-huh.
how you do that. I have to do that in order for me to be well, in order for me to lead, in order for me to make change, in order for me to
Yeah.
want justice. I need to know what I am dealing with. It's really data. I really
Yeah.
want people to look at our feelings as data. It is
Hmm.
data of when I go into this situation, this is how I normally feel. So let me regulate myself beforehand.
Yeah.
Or when I'm going into this situation, normally I feel this. What are some things that I can do? That could be, let me journal for 5 minutes before I walk
Mm.
into this space.
I
It
love
could
that.
be, let me call a trusted friend. Prayer, meditation could be
Yeah.
some things that people do beforehand. Box breathing. I just gave that as an
Hmm.
example, or just some simple breathing exercises that kind of just gets you ready. And then you look at, how am I walking into this space? What do I want to feel when I come out of here? What is it
Okay.
that I want to experience when I come from doing whatever it is that I'm doing? Now, that does not negate what may happen in the meantime. However, if you are clear about how
Hmm.
you want to feel when you walk out of any situation,
I
I
love
can
that.
assure you that your feelings will follow that, as long as you regulate yourself beforehand.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. And so for someone listening who feels overwhelmed and doesn't know where to begin, what would you recommend their first step being?
One of the things I love to do when I feel that overwhelm is really
Hmm.
tackle why. Ask
Okay.
yourself
Okay.
three things.
Mhm.
So I'm overwhelmed. What am I feeling in this
Mhm.
moment? Is it fear?
Okay.
Is it shame? What is it that I'm actually feeling? Because overwhelm is an encompassing of a lot of feelings. I could be happy and be
Mhm.
overwhelmed,
Yeah.
you know? So,
Yeah.
what am I feeling? Sad, depressed, angry, mad? Like, what is it that I'm feeling?
Mhm.
Now that I know what I'm feeling, what do I do with that?
Yeah.
What do I do with that feeling that I am? Okay, so I'm anxious. I'm anxious because of whatever reason. And
Mhm.
I don't want to feel anxious. So, what am I going to do about that? Am I going to allow fear or whatever to get in the way
Okay.
of it, or am I going to tackle it head on? And then you think about, so once I know what it is, what I want to
Mhm.
do with it, now how do I make sure that this feeling not only does not show up, because we can't
Mhm.
really dictate that sometimes, but
Right.
what can I do next time to prepare myself when I go into said situations so that this feeling doesn't show up?
Mm.
You can only plan ahead if you know what it is. But
Yeah.
sometimes we just say, I'm overwhelmed, and we either push through or we bail out. We have to learn how, even if we decide to say, this isn't good, I'm going to back out, or even if
Mhm.
we decide to say, I'm still going to do it, we still need to take those steps to figure out what it is. What am I
Yeah.
feeling? What am I going to do with it? And what's next? Because if we don't, we're going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over and
Yeah.
over and over. We have to learn how to listen to our bodies. Our bodies talk to us so much.
Right.
We just
And
don't listen.
yeah, no, totally. I think so. A little bit about me too. I actually experienced that myself. I think I kept like working, like, no, I can't take any time off. There's all these to dos, and my body just told me, Denise, this is enough. So it shut down. Like I got so sick, I had to go to the hospital, like even ICU, and then and then I put on a medical leave for 3 months. I'm like, well, what good am I to anyone now? And now I have like permanent health issues I have to deal with because I
Yes.
wasn't paying attention to those signs. And I think if I didn't have my body just shut down, like I would have still kept pushing
Yep.
through. But yeah, sometimes the body tells you like when you really need to like slow
Right.
down. So hopefully people can get to the point of listening to those signs before getting to like an emergency like that though.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So can you share what does clarity before complexity look like in a real life scenario?
So look at any situation that you're about to go into. For me, I feel like justice work is complex within itself. There are so many
Yeah.
nuances, there's so many factors that play into the work that you do in any sector. I don't care what form of social justice you're doing, what
Hmm.
your cause is, it's all complex. But when you think about complexity, and
Hmm.
how to remain calm in it, that means that there has to be some level of discernment and
Hmm.
also some level of us regulating, figuring out
Yeah.
what it is. What am I breaking down? Because a
Hmm.
rally could be about anything, a petition signing could be about anything. But
Right.
what is the outcome? How do I need to show up? I know I'm going into this and some people are not going to like it. I mean, I can recall trying to get signatures for voting and stuff and just the responses
Hmm.
that people were giving me. And I'm like, this is our constitutional right. What you mad
Hmm.
for? Why are you mad? But people were. I had to learn
Hmm.
how to remain calm in those type of situations because it would have defeated the purpose
Right.
of why I'm there.
Hmm.
Number two, it also will put me in a state of where now I'm dysregulated
Hmm.
because I just didn't want to take the time to really look at what does it look like before I go into the situation. So I really want people to just break down the complexity. You know how they say
I
you
love
can't,
that.
how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a
Oh,
time.
right.
So you look at what your social justice issue is, what is the cause at that very moment, and you try to break those very things down.
Hmm.
And again, we just talked about calm execution and how you
Hmm.
ease yourself through those spaces. So
Right.
I need to tell my team, hey, y'all, before we go into this place, let's do some breathing. Let's
I
pay
love
attention
that.
to our body. If your body tells you something, don't ignore it. I will trust me. You'll
Hmm.
still be down with me, but I understand that you need to be regulated before you do anything. Cause if you don't,
Yeah.
you're gonna push through. Eventually, you're gonna burn out. And like you said earlier, this work, people don't last. People
Yeah.
do not last in this work, and we need so many
No,
people.
I agree. I agree. So yeah,
Yes.
that's why it's just like, it's not a bad thing for us to take care of each other and take care of ourselves too. And actually that leads me to the next question. So how can leaders simplify their work without compromising impact?
Oh, this is a good question. Because I really want people to understand at the end of the day, there
Yeah.
should be two words that come to your mind as a
Mm.
leader: impact and transformation.
Uh-huh.
That's your whole influence wrapped into one.
Yeah.
I will say you have to first take yourself out of it and your ego. Because,
Uh-huh.
sometimes as justice leaders, our ego can get caught up in it, especially when we see certain things as a win. We're making
Hmm.
strides, we see progress. If you are one who is not regulated and you're always
Mm.
showing up, you don't have boundaries, you will begin to have the me complex.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes your impact gets lost in that.
Yeah.
Because trust me, as the leader, yeah, you may be spearheading things, but without the teams that
Hmm.
support you, your cause ain't moving. You
Yeah.
can't do it alone. You can't do it by yourself. And so you always have to have what your mission, what you want to come out of this, which is the impact. It always
Right.
has to be top of mind. It always has to be present. And you use that as a basis. Again, a lot of these
Hmm.
things are data for us. And we have to
Yeah.
start using them and treating them that way. So you use that impact as data for yourself of how I need to show up. How do I lead my teams? How do I make the next move in this cause? How do I progress and move our mission forward so that we're not stuck, so
Yeah.
that we don't fall into any troubles if we can avoid them? We really have to keep these things top of mind as leaders in this social justice world.
Yeah, no, definitely. But, thank you for so much for taking the time to share your insights and wisdoms. I think that, people are going to get a lot of out of this conversation, hopefully taking advantage of these tangible tools that you offered and everything. And also like personal experience too. Like, I don't want people to experience burnout. So how can they take care of each other and themselves without getting to that point? But just as we're wrapping up, if listeners take away just one thing from this conversation, what do you hope that it would be?
I will hope that they will take away that. I think you said it so many times, and I love that you said it, that you have to
Hmm.
take care of each other, but you also
Uh-huh.
have to take care of yourself. Again, mental health is the foundation of everything. And without it being intact, without it being paid
Hmm.
attention to, nothing you do will move forward. So just take care of yourself.
Yeah, no, I love that. And thank you again. I had such a wonderful time talking
Me
with you today. But
too.
yeah, but just lastly, where can people learn more about your work and stay connected with you?
Well, I am on all platforms,
Okay.
Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn as LaKisha M. Mosley. You can
Hmm.
check out my website, LaKishaMosley.com, where
Hmm.
you can learn more about me, upcoming events, and the Soft Simple CEO.
Okay, that's wonderful. Thank you again. You're such a beautiful person doing wonderful work, impactful work in the community, and make sparking like so many different positive changes too. Because like you said earlier, like we really need as many people in this movement as possible, especially right now because so much is going on, and we don't want to lose people to just different like even health issues or like burnout or something. Because I remember like I was told this when I was like very young, like entering into like community organizing type work, and they warned us. There's like if you're not careful, like there are people who literally died doing this work because it's either health issues or also it can be dangerous in a point too. And I think as I've grown older, I'm like it shouldn't have to be that way though. Like we should like find joy in this work, especially if we are doing this in the long term. And it shouldn't just feel like trudging along, chugging along, drudgery type work.
Right.
There should be joy in
Right.
this work as well.
this is legacy work. And that's what
Yeah.
another thing I want people to think about. The
Yeah.
work that you do is legacy. It is what
Mm-hmm.
stays when you're no longer either in the room, in the space, or no longer here on earth. So, how do you leave legacy? That's by taking care of yourself. And what
Yeah.
I learned during this time where I couldn't do anything. I
Yeah.
literally had to rest. I was so burnt out. If you've never had chronic fatigue, it's like not being, it's almost like a paralyzation.
No,
You can't
yeah.
move. You
No, I know. No, but the thing is, like, that's because I've had chronic fatigue since I was like in my early 20s, and doctors never knew how to solve it. And I just got to the point
there's
like,
no
well, I
cure.
just gotta, yeah, I'm like, I just gotta deal with it. And so now that I'm older, the doctors are saying it's because of my age. But I've been feeling this way since I was 20, and no one
Yeah,
ever
it's
helped
like
me
you can't do
though.
anything. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't do anything. It's like your arms feel
yeah,
so heavy, and it's from lack of rest. And what I learned
yeah.
was that women leaders don't live long. Our
Oh, that's
longevity
really sad.
is not, it's
Yeah,
31% of us
yeah,
don't make it. That we don't make it, and it's because we
yeah.
don't take care of ourselves. Our bodies are very unique. We have to take care of ourselves a
Hmm.
certain way.
Hmm.
And if you're like at my age where I'm in menopause, it's weird
Yeah,
crazy. So I really want us to really just start taking care of ourselves so that
yeah.
we can really create the impact and the legacy that we want in the social justice work that we're doing.
Yeah, and that really breaks my heart, even just hearing like what you're saying, because it's like, people who really have good intentions and want to uplift communities, especially to me, like it's really important to uplift like communities of color, like
Yes,
marginalized folks, underprivileged, under-resourced. And like it's like these people are like doing so much work, and like for them to also suffer,
right.
health-wise and stuff. It makes me really sad to think that
Yeah,
that
it's
is
very
actually happening. But I feel like it is a reality though.
it's so true, and it's very
Yeah.
disheartening because a lot of times they're fighting for rights of things that
Hmm.
they may never ever have access to.
Yeah.
But sometimes they don't make it to the finish line because they are burnt out, or
Hmm.
like you said, health issues. There are health issues from not taking care of myself that I have now that I probably
Yeah.
would not have had if I had
Right.
listened to my body, which is why I'm so keen on listening to my body now, even if that upsets someone else. I
Yeah.
have to take care of my body.
Yeah, actually, because so Western medicine, Western doctors, it felt like it wasn't that helpful, but I started seeing a homeopathic doctor who was like incredibly helpful, and he actually made me make that connection. He said, actually, the stress that you went through when you were younger is what directly led you to those health issues. I'm like, no one ever pointed those out to me because I had a lot of reproductive health issues, and he was like, no, there's a direct connection between stress and physical health, and
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes.
So
Stress is a silent killer. And
yeah,
people don't recognize that. They feel like, oh, well, that's just normal. Like stress that's temporary, that's normal.
yeah.
But stress that is chronic, there's
Hmm.
something wrong. You need to go get help.
Yeah, yeah. But thank you again for your time. I truly did have a wonderful time talking with you. And I wish you all the best moving forward. And I truly hope that we could stay connected. And I
Yes,
hope that you have a
definitely.
good rest of your day.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Take care. Thank you for being here and tuning in to Voices That Propel Us, stories of justice, action, and community. Your presence in this movement matters. If today's conversation moved you, share it, talk about it, and keep the work going. Together, we're not just imagining change, we're making it. Until next time, stay bold, stay grounded, and stay in the fight.